What it do, YouTube family? I'm glad you're back on the channel, ready to listen or watch another interview. Today we have Mr. Competition himself, Joser Rosales, founder of Explozo Tattoos in Orland, California. This man is building a legacy as an artist by winning multiple standoffs at expos in the area. I first met him at open gym hoop runs and witnessed firsthand his tenacity and will to win. His infamous signature layup package will always stir up emotions, so don't ever allow a breakaway at any cost. Although his love for the game is unquestionable, I have brought him here for another passion, art. This is where he truly gets to express himself and has established a repertoire for phenomenal pieces. I hope you all get the chance to watch this one from start to end. There's a lot of hidden gems sprinkled throughout the video that can help you make better business decisions. His story is unique in its own way and cannot have been said better by anyone else. Shout out to Explozo for making this one happen. Tap in with him now because he is usually booked for months in advance. Comment down below anything that stands out to you. More videos are on the way, but make sure to hit that like button and share this one around the world. ZDP, you feel me? What do you have to say?
Yeah, not at INMO. That did not happen at INMO.
What happened at INMO?
Nothing happened at INMO.
Nothing happened at
No,
INMO.
you tell me what happened.
You remember guarding me at INMO?
Yeah, nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Alright, you see this, guys? He's lying to the camera, right in front of the camera. Why are you lying?
I never lied. Look, I got the cross on my. I never lied, bro. I never lied.
Who do you think is the GOAT, though? Like, the real GOAT?
I would have to say Jordan.
Jordan?
That motherfucker. No matter what. I mean, but LeBron's right there. I mean, LeBron, as far as a basketball player, you know, he's a better basketball player.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean he's a GOAT in my eyes. I think that just came from playing the game. And the more you've seen it, like Isaiah Thomas, the more, I just saw that he was killing. So like, I thought that was fun. That was the thing to do. So then when your brother's beating down on you too, it's like, well, you get mad and then you want to train harder, you want to quit, so that's, I don't know, the love, I guess, from just getting beat down and then trying to come back and do, trying to conquer whoever's in front of you. And sometimes when that task is not easy, it makes you try even harder. So it's like an obsessive addiction. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's pain too. So some people like cut themselves. I was just watching some shit on Joe Rogan where like some behaviors where people were like butt their heads on the wall, and I guess that's like a behavior for them. So like my behavior playing basketball, getting hit, beat up, the pain. That almost made me want to come back and like, so that was the love. I love that. I love being sore. I love having bruises. You know what I mean? Not necessarily as scars, but just as a remembrance in my mind. Damn, like that was a battle, that was fun. Whether we would win or lose, right? So that's where the love came from, I think. The pain, and then the gain at the end of it. So no particular player, but they did help. Iverson, Isaiah Thomas, Nick Van Exel. Those guys just had that flair, something they brought to the game. They weren't necessarily causing pain, maybe mental anguish with, them hitting shots. You think you're playing great defense.
So you saw beauty in pain?
Yeah, oh yeah. And, there's definitely beauty in pain, definitely. So that's where it came from, I guess, to answer your question.
Okay. Well, explain to viewers, where are we today? Where are we located right now?
All right, well, where are we today? We're in Orland, California. Orland, Khalifa, you already know so, putting it on the map. Orland, California, it's off of I-5,
Okay.
hour and a half north of Sacramento.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
And why is this place important to you?
This is where I grew up. This is where I came from. So, I guess everybody, wherever they came from is always important to them. You know what I mean? But it's not necessarily it's I guess where you're at. You make it important. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
How have you made this place important to you? What have you done in this place?
Well, man, it's my livelihood. So like, so basically it's my livelihood. So that's what's really important, is that this is how I make my living. Everything else is just extra. So as long as I just show up, put in the work, That's important to me. The principles, showing up, putting the work, don't worry about whatever anything else is going on, and just like, putting in the work, and the results will speak for it, and whatever comes from that will just show up, and it'll manifest itself. But I think that's more important. This place is important to me because it's where I show up to make my living, to provide for my family, and be able to do other things that I like to do in my life, to where, I live a blessed life, and very grateful for that. So I count my blessings every day. That is important to me. So that's the number one reason.
So what is it that you do to support your family? What is it that you do in Orland, California?
Well, man, I'm a tattoo artist.
Okay.
And so that's branched out to like where, people do reach out to me to do artwork projects, but sometimes it doesn't, like I gotta make, there's a certain amount of money I make tattooing compared to like if I want to do a mural for somebody.
Okay.
No one's really ready to pay me, at least me, that much, but they will for a tattoo. So I'm like, eh. So there's a business, there's a passion to it, and there's a business, but I mean, so I got to do that to provide for my family, food, shelter, right, clothes. They want to do activities. So, there's a lot of selfless in that to where, I could be doing whatever else if I had other, thoughts or ambitions of doing different things. But I think it's important to, raise the family. If you are going to have a family, to raise it, try to raise it the best you can. So that's important to me. So coming to work and doing this, I have to provide for them, right? Not only for myself, but for them. So it's definitely giving me a sense of purpose, a sense of urgency, and then, if you're doing it for the community in Orland, you might as well try to show out and show up and, and exemplify yourself to the community and for the community, for the other people like coming into your community and you see your establishment. You're definitely setting like, all right, this place, this town, there's a certain level of, I don't know if you want to call it expectations, but just there's a certain level of what they're doing out here, if that makes any sense.
What do you do in particular that sets the bar, sets the tone?
So my tattooing style become like realistic surrealism, which, basically that style is very prominent in Los Angeles, Southern California, even the Bay Area. I think it's more of a West Coast thing that's definitely trying to like win across the world. Now different countries are doing it. In Europe, they're pushing the limits on the black and gray stuff. So that's what I bring. That stuff that you don't got to go out to the cities anymore to go get that type of work. You can stay right here in Northern California in Orland and get that type of work. So and nobody could do that in the amount of time that I could accomplish those, quarter sleeves or sleeves, with the detail, not only just shading, but the detail that's also in there. I don't think anybody really brings that to the table anywhere close to here. There's a couple people in Sacramento, and there's a couple people in the Bay Area, but other than that, I think I'm kind of like the lone wolf up here. And there's other people there that are like right there, but I don't think they're there yet, not like where I'm at. So that's what I bring, something different. Fine arts. So I try to I'm trying to make this fine art. You paying money for it, I'm gonna try my hardest, just like basketball. Also have passion for art, so like when I do, I try to do the best I can, right? And try to do stuff that not only is difficult, but fun and creative. So just like when I'm out there with the rock, I might be doing some dumb stuff that might not work, but if I pull it off, it's awesome, right? So, that's how you gotta live with no fear too, take chances, and try not to be what everybody else is doing.
Do you feel like people are relying on you to try new things, or you just want to try new things?
No, I think people, they don't rely on me, but they do trust in me. So I do get a lot of like, do what you want, and I don't do what I want. I will relay the message or relay my idea to them, and if they say no, then either I save it for someone else, or maybe it was just for that project, can't really use it for something else. But that's what kind of keeps me young and refreshed is like, when they come up with an idea, I kind of try to I try to ask the questions that will let me know where they want or where they're going with it. Can I get crazy with it? Do you want to simplify it, but just a lot of detail? And then I got to do some tricks here and there to just try to make it all blend together. Some of that stuff doesn't need to be relayed, it's just automatic. But as far as the concepts and stuff, they don't rely on me for it, but I think they do, for the most part, encourage me to do whatever I want with it, as long as I get their ideas across.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is the process like when you find a new customer and they're giving you their ideas? How do you brainstorm with them to get the piece that they want, that they don't know they want?
How do I brainstorm with them to get the piece that they don't know they want?
Yes.
Well, again, for the most part, people just have an idea, like a word, maybe, oh, I want a lion, and then somebody, all right, well, that's good. Okay, what kind of lion? Growling. So then I start getting deeper into all right, well, what about what you just told me is it that you like? How do you want to represent yourself, And then I'll just start throwing stuff at them, maybe show them some pictures, and then kind of go from there. And then I'm like, is that it? Do you want anything else with it? And then that's when you kind of either you sell it, let's make it big, which is what I like to do, and let's get that detail in there, if that's all you want. But most of the time they forget, they're like, oh yeah, I also want a clock and a rose. So now I was like, oh, okay, now we got different things. How can I make this dynamic? How can I make it flow? And then, before you even draw anything, I might say, how about we do something like this? And I might show them a picture just because I'm lazy. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna sketch nothing out. I'll just show them, someone already did it. I'll just show them a picture. And then, so now it's my job to try to make it different from the picture, but kind of emulate the same thing they're seeing. As far as the transitions is how they blend the three things together, And I might even switch it up or get different pictures so it's not exactly the same. And a lot of people dig that because now they think I'm trying, which I am, and I'm giving them different concepts and ideas of something they can actually see on something from a different tattoo. So then, they like that and it makes them feel comfortable. And I was like, all right, now this guy's getting me. He's not just saying I get a lot of times when people come in and they're like, oh yeah, the guy was just like, oh yeah, I got you, I understand. And then come out with some bullshit. So it's like, well, why didn't you say that? Well, the guy said he knew what I was talking about. And it's like, but he didn't talk to you. Like, no, he wasn't. And there you go. So he wasn't thorough with them.
So you make it a point to understand your customers and know them on a deeper level.
Yeah, I guess we do get deeper because it represents them. So it's they're going to be walking around with it. So that's another thing I always tell them. You're the one, because they're always like, well, what do you think? I'm like, man, who cares what I think? All I know is I do dope tattoos and I do them because I'm asking these questions. And I was like, I need you to answer these questions. So that way we get to where we want to get to, which is your dope tattoo. I was like, so my opinion on what I think it looks good or not good doesn't really matter. If I do offer something, it's because that's what I'm feeling. So it's up to you to just knock it down, which I don't care if people say no, I don't like it. I got many more. It's like getting in your bag, right? So yeah, they like it,
How have you transferred over from the business aspect? And because it started off as a passion, how did you turn it into where you are today? What was the first steps into creating this business?
What were the first steps in creating a passion into a business? Well, I would say going to college, that definitely helped. They definitely structured all my thoughts and, helped you create a plan, like a game plan, right? Before I didn't know anything, I just knew I wanted to be an artist. And so, my parents weren't, artists or anything like that. So where can I learn this? I knew common sense is in college. Someone's gonna teach me there. I didn't know what I was really getting into, and tattooing was different. So what I got into was computer animation. So a lot of those teachers were in the business of computer animation. So and they were just teaching in between jobs. We had teachers out there leave to go work on a project. So they'd leave teaching us to go get a job. So they're like freelancers. And so that was tough. So they, you kind of open your eyes, all right, being an artist is tough, and you got to go where you get paid, and that was pretty much it. So the transition started in college, and so as far as tattooing was never a part of my, whatever I wanted to be. It was not part of my career plan or path, not even 100 years or a million years. But when you have a kid, that's what happened. Basically, I had a kid back against the corner. You got to do something with your skills. So, God opened my eyes, and And then once I started, so basically I already had the knowledge. I just was like, here's something that you could use your skill to. And so it was very easy to turn it into, okay, now I do tattoos. The hardest part was just time and patience. Because doing tattoos, I can only do a couple of tattoos a day, right? Mm-hmm. So turning it into a business, it manifests by the decisions you make every day. And so you seen memes on Instagram and stuff like that where it's like, all right, what you do today can affect you 6 months down the road, which is very true. Or if you don't do anything today, it can set you back 6 months. And so sometimes now everything's in a rush. So what helped me was patience, because as you transfer over to business, you got to realize you're not gonna make $1 million overnight. You're not gonna make $100,000 overnight. You just got to put in that work for that day. And so that's the little principles of business. So as far as translating that, I think it started when I was 19 when I went to college. When I came back, I was 22. At 25, I started tattooing. So right then and then, I started implementing my business knowledge that I learned from college, which translated to tattooing, easily. It was just a matter of applying it, which sometimes people have information, they don't apply it. You know what I mean? So it's like.
So what information were you applying? Like, how are you prospecting, reaching out to new people to show off your artwork that you're making?
Well, Instagram had not existed yet in 2007. Facebook had not existed yet in 2007. The smartphone had just come out in 2007. But yeah, that was still something that we needed to navigate. I wasn't on the internet. I was in junior high. I remember being a part of the internet and making a thing for our school, our junior high school. But so in college, they did teach you the psychology of how people think. They teach you how to market. They teach you how to advertise and things like that. And again, how people think, what catches their attention. So that's marketing and advertising. So I kind of went with tattooing. Before I wasn't even, like I said, there was no Facebook or Instagram. So, okay, where was I advertising? Nowhere. It was all word of mouth. So I had 3 markets. So that's another thing. Understand your markets as far as business, location. Okay, well, I'm in Orland. Where's my markets? All right, well, I speak Spanish. I'm bilingual. So I can get all the people that speak Spanish in the area. Because I realized Chico didn't have anybody. That was another thing, thinking. I knew Chico didn't have anybody that really spoke Spanish. So I'm like, all right, everybody that speaks Spanish, come to me. And you got your Google, you can get your Google listings, which I think back then was free. But in 2007, 2009, I was just in my kitchen. So tattooing, I was talking to people at the bailes, quinceañeras, so that raza, they're talking to me. I was an athlete, so I was talking to all the athletes at Butte College, Chico State. So they're like the popular kids. So that helped me get into that market. So they were coming to Orland instead of getting tattooed in Chico. And then just being from Orland, like everybody in town already knew I could draw. So that obviously was a good support system. And so, from business and what I could bring into the tattooing game was like marketing, advertising, how people think, the psychology of it, and then the networking, and then figuring out your market, and then trying to figure out what niche you could bring to where you could create a staple to that business, in that industry, and to where you're needed, and people were out there looking for you, and that's kind of what I brought.
So you said your niche is surrealism, but when did you find out you could actually do this really well? When you were younger, were you creating art like that? Or was it different, or how did it start off?
You know what? I felt like it's almost a lot easier to tattoo than it is to do anything else. And I think just because you could do something on someone's skin and it's like less cleanup and it's less of a hassle than, which before I used to be terrified because of like the blood and all that stuff. But, being a waiter actually helped me in like getting my food handler's card. So I learned about contamination, cross-contamination stuff in the waiting in the food industry. So when I came to tattooing, I was kind of like, all right, I kind of had that common sense about it, dealing with blood. But when you're painting, I never made anything like really elaborate at all. I was kind of more of a graffiti artist, just doing quick bombs, bright colors, black lines. So when I'm doing this realistic stuff, it's different from my graffiti stuff where I could get cartoony and nothing doesn't have to be exact. So I've lost a lot of that creativeness, which is sometimes sucks, but when I think back, I'm like, oh yeah, I don't got time for that. Like stuff doesn't pay me. But it was fun, get to create something. So it's like, it's just, I think it's a lot easier to tattoo. So like, I've been drawing my whole life. pencils, markers, paints, nothing as realistic as I do now, but I always had that passion just to create and actually sit there and have the discipline to sit there for hours and do something, you know, because sometimes people get bored or they get distracted, you know, paying attention and stuff like that. So, and then you're like, oh wow, the whole day's done, you know, and it's like, cool.
So in that time when you're sitting there and you're like, hold on, I gotta draw for 4 more hours, what are you thinking? Like, is it easy to pass the time, or is it hard for you to like sit there and force yourself to be there? When you first were starting out, when there was
when I was first starting off, was it easier to sit there or did I have to force myself through these sessions? Sometimes you have to force yourself through those sessions because, you know, you're not feeling the design, or maybe you have other stresses like bills, or, you know, maybe you have a game or playoff game. It's at 7 and you need to get off, but you also need to make money. So you're like trying to hurry up, trying not to mess up the tattoo, trying to get to the game on time. You know, and then you got your baby mama or your baby daddy or something, whoever be tripping. But for me, you know, yeah, it's always like, oh, the kids need this, the kids need. And I'm like, well, I gotta do this and I gotta do that, and then I gotta sit down, and then just sit there, you know, and I'm helpless. I can't help you, you know. And so, but again, I felt I had that in me just because I liked what I'm doing, and I knew I'm doing it for a purpose. So I knew the outcome was gonna be greater than if I just skipped it and try to like, I rush through it, just I'm not sitting there, you know, that long. So, and a lot of times you gotta communicate to it, hey, I'm not gonna finish this. You know, sometimes that helps me right there. So that way it takes a lot of worry and burden off my shoulders. This client already knows that I'm not gonna finish this tattoo. I could go at a certain pace where I can get done at a comfortable spot, where the next time I can just come in. You know, and a lot of times it's just a gift of gab. You know, I think that's another thing, you know, having that game that helped me communicate with my clients to where they're like on board with the game plan.
Okay, for sure. So you said you learned a lot of your business skills from college, but anything else that you learned from like your parents growing up that taught you anything that you apply to your daily life now?
Anything I learned from my parents that I apply to my daily life now, I would say, you know, my mom was a good business person. My dad was not so much. So I got to learn from both. I'm also the type of learner that I can learn from somebody's mistakes. Mm-hmm. So he didn't make too many because my mom didn't let him, you know, really make any decisions with money. But the decisions he did make, I could see like, okay, like they ended up not being a good decision. It wasn't like, they didn't hurt the pockets that much, but I could see. My mom, you can see her frugalness or penny pinching, or, you know, bargaining for a deal, hassling for a deal, you know what I mean? I don't do that, but I can see and respect people that do that. And so like, as far as from her, they both had the work ethic where they just showed up, didn't really ask questions, and just put in work, and like, they didn't complain. So that's kind of what I do. Like, yeah, this is tough. Like, I've had people, my back hurts, my shoulder, you know, this and that. Me too. I just ain't gonna complain about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I got that from them, just working through the pain. And again, it's, you know, again, the pain, again, something about the pain. So I got that from them. What else? Business sense, my mom, she's very stern with her decisions, which could be bad, you know, like no flexibility. So, but I'm like, all right, be flexible, but also be decisive. Like, so like when you decide something, like you gotta like go with it, you know, whether it goes good or bad. So I got that from them. So I guess, you know, making a decision and going with it with hard energy, with good work ethic, and, you know, the outcome was always gonna be good. Another thing was patience. You know, they had a lot of patience. So, you know, that's pretty much, I think, the two or three things I got from them: patience, decisiveness, and I guess work ethic.
And in deciding the name of your business, how did you create that? How did that formulate into your brain? Why Explozo Tattoos?
How did I create the name of my business and why Explozo Tattoos? I would say because I really didn't have anything, I didn't think about that part. And although it did come in my mind, I'm gonna say it didn't, but I didn't really think too much about it until we were in the car, and I looked at Claudia and I'm like, what am I gonna name it? She's like, well, I don't know. Like, you haven't thought about it? I'm like, not really. And right there, I was like, I will just call it Explozo's Custom Tattoos. And Explozo's, that came as a nickname. I didn't want to call it Joser's Tattoos. I didn't want to call it Orland Inc. or like Orland Company or anything like that. Or, I just thought that was too cheesy. It's not my cup of tea. So I like to be different. So like Explozo's, that's kind of different. It also lets me know who I am, and lets, building a brand. It's another thing I learned in college, brand building. Totally, I forgot about mentioning that. But that's how I got the name, that's how I got the name for the shop, was just, my brand is Explozo, which is like, boom, here in your face, here it is. And so, like it or not, right? Win or lose. But I feel that was gonna carry me a long way, so I decided to name it that.
Do you carry a lot of pride in the artwork that you make for your customers?
Yeah. Like the other day, I forgot a dot and I, and like my heart just sank. I was like, so I was like, we need to get you in here. You know what I mean? Luckily, he lives in Orland, but I've had customers that lived in other states where well, that one was just like a touch up. But I flew over there to touch it up. I flew out of state to go touch this guy's arm up. And I've had guys from SAC, I forgot to do this and that. Man, like you got to drive all the way back. And I really hurt. So I do take pride in in that. And people, it represents me, so if people are gonna go out there and see it, I don't want people to see trash. I'm trying to do this, and if I'm saying this, I need to match that with my my output, whatever I'm putting out. And so I take a lot of pride in that.
Do you take a lot of pride in the way you dress? Because I see you have a Mamba City sweater on. Does it represent you in a way, or are you kind of just wearing it just to wear it?
It does. I guess there is representation. So again, we're building content right now.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing I learned in college: content, branding. So me as an artist, like I don't dress like this to work.
Mm-hmm.
I dress like I put on like sometimes I just show up in my pajamas still. You know what I mean? No, but I'll just wear some sweats, some old shoes, an old shirt, and I'm comfortable like that. And I could go like that anywhere and be comfortable and be myself. But right now, since we're creating content and I'm gonna be on the internet, one thing they taught us in school is like represent yourself. So I'm like, I'm gonna throw on this sweater, which I would probably wear at a game or somewhere if I'm going out. And then, cause I'm Explozo, Mambasita, and the homie J-Po. I don't really wear hats, but it's J-Po. Shout out to J-Po.
Who is J-Po?
J-Po is Jordan Poyer. He plays for the Buffalo Bills. He's a safety. So, they played in the AFC Championship against Mahomes, last year and or earlier this year.
And that's someone you worked really close with?
We're not like real close, but I've tatted him. So I've tatted him like 6-7 times in the last 8 years or so. So, when we do it, it is an intimate conversation. We just spend a lot of hours together. So as he's a human. So as we're only BSing and chopping it up, talking about life. And, so, it's, and he's younger than me. So like, he had a lot of the same worries and stuff that I had at that age, except he just has more money. You know what I mean? he has a bigger spotlight. So more money, more problems. Mm-hmm. But, I definitely like to represent. So right now we're cross-branding Explozo, J-Po, we got Mambasitas, and then we got you, and you're, which I haven't got nothing, no merch yet.
Not yet. It's in the
works.
works.
It's coming. So.
Do you represent a lot of who you are, and you kind of like say it's sort of similar to with the Mambasita brand, because he's one of the players that you look up to, right? Kobe Bryant.
To tell you the truth, I was always a Kobe hater,
okay.
But I never looked up to him. But I did recognize, I can respect what he brought to the game, and my heart did break when he died. No one wants to see anybody die, but but so it represents me. I'm a hooper. Okay, this guy likes basketball. He's wearing the Mambasita shirt. Everybody that knows this shirt wouldn't recognize. Okay, that's the Mambasita shirt. Whoever doesn't, would be like, okay, he's wearing some tie-dye other shirt, right? Again with J-Po, he's starting out with this J-Po branding. No one really recognizes it, but I'm gonna rep it. Just artist wears a lot of wear back hats sideways. So I'm an artist. So like I've been doing that since like a graffiti thing, right?
Before it was cool.
Well, they were doing it in the '80s. I think with the graffiti crews, they were wearing their hats sideways. Sometimes it's sideways, sometimes I just throw it on. It's never really straight. So that's a style. That's like graffiti or whatever style. Now I call it whatever. I don't know what style would that be. Back then, a lot of graffiti artists did it. Hip hop. It was like a hip hop thing, right? Sweats, hooper thing, b-boy, graffiti. You know, just rocking the sweats, being lazy. So I guess that's kind of like the style I like to represent. You know, it's just like not really caring. Like I'm an artist. Like I don't need to dress up. So.
What are some of the greatest success stories that you've had in your life over the years?
Man, besides the birthing of my children, man, there's a lot. Like when I broke the record, that was probably like one of my first. When I broke the high school record for most points in the game.
In what, basketball?
In basketball, and as a sophomore, and then I did it again on my birthday as a junior. And then.
So you're a hooper.
Yeah, and then my other one would be like when I got cut from the semi-pro team in Chico, and then I found out right before there was the tournament. So I ended up running with my Chico team that I run in Chico League, which they were already a squad, and they just kind of brought me on. But we got on in that tournament, and we beat the semi-pro team in the first round. And then we ended up being an alumni team from University of Reno, Nevada, where Colin Kaepernick went. So there was an alumni team from Reno, Nevada that was in that tournament, and we beat them for the championship. But that team had been beating me for the previous like 5 or 6 years. And so it was like my first time, you know, and it was a championship game. And I got my revenge on them and got my W against them. And the coach that cut me of the semi-pro team was throwing that tournament. So he had to give me the championship shirt. So
it felt like.
Oh yeah, I told that motherfucker, sorry to cuss, you know, but
good.
I told that dude, like, you shouldn't have cut me, motherfucker. You shouldn't have cut me, because I was busting all their asses, and I was getting mine.
Was it a personal vendetta for you?
You know, I think politically correct, I would say like no, but it did feel good once they won. So like, I don't think it gave me anything extra, but you know, I always play hard. So you know, it's easy to say, oh yeah, I could do it, but you know, honestly, it didn't. I would have played hard just the same. I would have played exactly just the same if that night had happened. That was just happened to be the circumstances. So of course, I'm going to take advantage of it and talk my shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But it wasn't like it didn't weigh on me or anything. Like, oh man, like I'm gonna try it. You know, I don't know if that's the
so
right answer.
You don't allow yourself to celebrate your wins as much, or?
Like
short-term memory, kind
of a short-term memory. You take your wins like you take your losses. I mean, again, if there's something there, like I will do it just because. I mean, again, I was also voted class clown, so I have all these different personalities. Sometimes there's no like rein to them. So like that the class clown dude might come up as soon as we win. I'll recognize, okay, now it's my time to clown you, you know, and sometimes I might beat a team that's like, all right, you guys are cool. Like, there's nothing here. There's nothing to really fuel my clowning personality. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so sometimes like, all right, good job, great win. You know what I mean? And then that's it. It's like, all right, that was fun, that was cool. You know, reflect on it. And then there's other times where like, oh, I don't like him, or this happened, and I remember, and this is a good time to like zing you. Is that, you know what I'm saying? And then now you just lost, so it's like throwing salt on the wound. You know, and sometimes I have that personality, which I guess.
Do you ever feel like it's hard for people to understand you because you can bring out a serious, or you can bring out a funny side, or you can bring a creative side?
Oh, definitely. Yeah. Do I feel like people don't understand me? Yes, I definitely feel like people will not understand me, you know, depending on what they see.
Okay. And what are some of the challenges that you faced throughout the years of your life?
Some of the challenges I faced throughout the years of my life, learning everything on my own, I guess. I would say that would be it, because I had to go through trial and error, you know, and I didn't really get to see somebody already be successful showing me the ropes. Like I've seen other artists, you know, they just go right to the top really fast because they have someone, a mentor, and teaching them. So that was one thing. As far as like basketball, I always had to do everything on my own. I wasn't making good grades, and I wasn't clipped up, and it's a lot of politics. So basketball was also challenging, trying to get on the squad, because I was small, came from this small town, nobody knew who I am. You know, people didn't really fuck with my style. And so, you know, that was challenging to prove them, like, hey, I can ball, you know, this and that. So, you know, those two aspects to my life, you know, other than that, everything was pretty easy, you know.
So not having that role model, has it like made a switch in your life to be the person that you never had in your life for others? To kind of show the ropes to other people?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because because I didn't have anybody in my life, am I now, trying to be that example for others?
Exactly.
And I would say yes. We always want to be that change that we want to see in the world, right? So if I didn't have that, and now I'm here in Orland, I'm like, well, I'm still here in Orland. I'm like, so I did it without it. Now maybe I can show somebody the ropes, and they can get there faster, if not even do more. Does that make And so I would say, yeah, definitely, and they need it. I think I've been also given a lot of game throughout the years for free. So, I try to give back for free. And I've also had people in my life that have also helped me out, like as a crutch here and there when something was needed. So I try to be that crutch for others if they need it. And so, I think it's a good thing.
What are the next 5 to 10 years looking like for Explozo Tattoos?
What are the next 5 to 10 years looking like for Explozo Tattoos? Oh man, haven't really thought about it, but I would say just doing the same thing and getting into different stuff. If that makes any sense. Getting the same.
Keeping the same
comedy. One thing I've been branching out is comedy. So hopefully in the next 5 to 10 years, I start slowing down with this. I get a couple more artists in here, and to where I could be out on the circuit and
like stand-up?
Doing stand-up comedy.
Okay.
Yeah. So right now I've been doing it a couple times here in Chico. Just starting out there. I want to branch out to Sacramento. And then I think that using my platform with Instagram with tattooing, I'm just gonna try to flip it and get all them, because if they already seen me for tattooing, they know I'm cracking jokes in here. So I think it's gonna be an easy flip, and then maybe and then hopefully at the same time I thought about it, I might make some money, and that'll kind of be my retirement thing. Some people go fishing, some people go golfing. I might go fucking tell some jokes, and then if they pay me a little bit of money, gas money or something for the food, or buy some shoes or whatever, or pay my phone bill. Shoot, that's fun, while I'm cracking jokes. And I'm not tattooing, breaking my back, and comedy isn't easy. Now that I've kind of dabbled into it, I realize, man, it's tough and it's a lot of work. But that's where I see myself the next 5 or 10 years, on the road, touring, and cracking jokes.
Do you see the same process of making your jokes as sitting there and creating artwork? Like, do you have to brainstorm a lot? Do you have to sit there and create new words that you want to use, or?
Oh man, it's a lot harder. Comedy, I think, is a lot harder than art to me, because of what you just mentioned. So, is it a lot harder to do comedy, to brainstorm, than it is to do tattoo ideas or tattoo work? I would say yes. It's a lot harder to structure the jokes and get 5 to 10 minutes, which is hard. Get 5 or 10 minutes. It's harder to do that, but at the same time, it's, you got to think of the psychology of a person, what people like. So again, with art, so that kind of helps. It just takes longer. So the ideas come to me fast, but the jokes don't. The jokes, I actually gotta nah, I can do that better. And sometimes I might have an idea with the lion, referencing the lion. I might have an idea already, but as I'm in the tattoo, I might change it up. I just tell the client right there, I'm gonna do this, and I don't gotta there's nothing to do. It's all in my head already, and I just gotta do it. So the joke is a little different. But when I go up there and tell a joke, I have just instinctively changed it as I was on stage, and then I got to see okay, I changed it and I did it on accident, but it worked better. Or I changed it, I did it on accident, that one didn't get that many laughs. And so kind of I change up on my tattoo design now. I'm thinking I wonder if some tattoo designs came out bad. Maybe not my favorite, but not bad. But then there are tattoos that man, I'm glad I made that change. That's dope. Same thing with the joke. So
would you say you're always going back and analyzing your past experiences to see where you could do better, or are you relying on other people's feedback?
I think a little bit of both, because it's always a new day. You got to stay in the present, but we're using our experiences to do something in the present. So if something will trigger you, oh yeah, I remember that happened, I'm gonna do this, that. And so that does help. But then I'm I'm gonna do this now. Oh, but look at who's in front of me, or whatever situation in front of me, that doesn't apply to this. So you know what, let me just but don't forget that, because it might work for another tattoo or another joke. But for this particular one, you know, I might not say it, or I might not use that joke, or I might not use that design, or I might not do that because the person's such and such don't like it. So you do gotta pander to your audience and things like that. So, because you're trying to sell it too. You know, it's not about me. It's about the collective and what the group's gonna think is funny or gonna like.
How would you say your community is around you? Like, is it filled with a lot of positivity and allows you to, because it's hard to create art, and when you're always being shown a lot of pain, which you are really good at embracing, do you feel like do you still need that positivity around you to make the art the way you want it?
Do I feel like I still need the positivity to make the art
Or
around me the way I want it?
Yeah, or are you searching for the pain?
No, I definitely like a peaceful life, so I'm not searching for any pain. So I definitely like positive people around me. So if you're not positive, I'm not gonna fuck with you. You know, so in that, I've been around negative people, and that's kind of like what got me to college, was being, and not necessarily around negative people, just people that didn't have positive ideas and positive thoughts, or trying to manifest anything positive. So I was like, all right, I need to separate myself from them, which is something I heard and seen from successful people, right? They tell us that all the time. You gotta cut, you know, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm at that point. This is what I need to do. So what do I do? You know, go to college, get out of the state, you know. And so, you know, so around there, I'm the only one that I know, no family or friends. So I'm the one that has to be positive, you know. So over there, I got to make decisions. Well, you're not positive. I don't even know you, so I don't know you nothing. When I came back to Orland, once I graduated, then you're seeing like, all right, now we're a little older. I can see you're not living a positive lifestyle. I don't need you in my life. And then from there, you're just like, all right. And even with family, you're like, you're not a positive person. Why do I need you around me? And it sucks and it hurts, because you're like, we used to have a relationship, but you know, that was then.
Do you take it upon yourself to be a good role model for your community?
I don't know. No.
You're just being you?
I'm just being me. So
okay.
Like, cause then you start putting too much pressure on yourself, and then you're like, you might forget who you really are, because you're trying to make everybody happy. So as long as you wake up and do whatever you need to be doing, again, the principles, showing up, doing the hard work, even if you don't want to do it, you know, you got to do it. And then, you know, just showing them by example, you know. So I think as long as I'm doing what I'm doing and I'm happy with it, I don't care if you don't like it, but someone else might see it and be like, well, you know, I want to live like that too. You know, I'm not hurting nobody. So, yeah, I don't feel like I have to be a positive role model for my community, but, you know, if people get motivated by it or inspired by it, then, you know, cool.
Any final words that you have for the audience?
Any final words I have for the audience? Well, I would just say, follow your dreams and your passion, and sometimes you have to listen, because it might not be what you may think it is, and it might be something different, like tattooing, right? And so it might be down the same road, what you have in mind, but it might be a little different, and but it might be the only opportunity at the time. And so you got to listen to that, follow it, and show up. 80% of success is showing up. So, you know, people got to show up. I know a lot of people that don't show up, and I think that sucks. Other than that, a lot of people ain't gonna believe in your dreams, so, you know, or believe in you, and you can't worry about that. You got to go and do what you got to do, regardless of win or fail. Again, you're doing it for you, you know, not for any monetary gains, not for money, not for coolness. You're doing it because you want to do that, and everything else will just take care of itself. And you got to have faith, like blind faith, like believing in God, right? We know He's there, you know, you got to believe in the plan, you know, so it's your plan. You got to believe in your plan. A lot of that, so I don't know.
Owner and founder of Explozo Tattoos, I thank you for taking the time out of your day to allow me to share your story among my audience and my platform, so appreciate it.
You're welcome, bro. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
For sure.